Today, we are still looking at vocabulary. However, this time we're looking at another aspect of vocabulary. We are looking at opposite in meaning. This time we pick a word and then we look at a word that is opposite in meaning to the word given. So another word for what we're looking at is atony. Or yes, you're looking for an atony or a word that is opposite in meaning. Question 1. Mr. Olu is a strict man. The word on the line is strict. Now, have you picked your answer? What do you think is the answer? Let's look at our options. Incidentally, we have all the words being positive terms. Kind, that's the options. Generous, lenient, and nice. And they seem to be having one or two things in common, Now, let's look at strict. Strict. If someone is not strict, will it mean that he's kind? If someone is not strict, does it mean that he's generous? If someone is not strict, does it mean that he's lenient? If someone is not strict, does it mean that he's nice? Now, what is strictness? A person who is strict is someone who is firm. He may be termed to be harsh, but if a person is harsh, does it mean that the person is not kind? No. So we look at the kind. A person can be harsh, or strict, or firm, and still be a kind person. It's just that he won't take nonsense. So we have the tendency is that if someone is strict, the person may not easily be kind, that's all. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the person that is strict cannot be kind. So move from there and go to B. A person that is strict, can that person be generous? Very possible. Well, naturally that if he is strict, he may not be that easily generous, that's all. But it doesn't mean that he cannot be the two things at the same time. For example, a person may not want people to pick his things without letting him know, without taking permission. And when it's done, he handles it, he frowns at it, maybe takes it back. He takes the thing back, and that makes him a strict person. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't freely give. He freely gives to people. So, if he gives freely, you say that he's generous, but you can't take his thing without his permission. So he's strict. So you can see that it is possible that a person can be strict and be generous at the same time. Kind, nice is maybe another word. It simply connotes that the person is not crude. When somebody is nice. So you can be strict and be nice too. Strictness does not connote that the person is crude, and does not denote that. It doesn't denote being crude. When you're nice, you can be strict and be nice. So our answer is lenient. The opposite of the word strict is lenient. A person that is strict can be lenient. Lenient means that somebody may do something wrong or be doing the wrong thing. You still look at it, you still tend to overlook, add a little bit of pampering here and there, then you are lenient. But a person that is strict doesn't take any nonsense. He wants the rules to be kept. So it's not possible to be strict and be lenient at the same time. But it's possible to be strict and be kind. It's possible to be strict and be generous. To be strict and be nice. But it's not possible to be strict and be lenient. So the opposite of strict is lenient. Now you must take note of this, because in most cases students pick the option A, kind. That if the person is strict, that means he's not kind. The opposite therefore they will pick as kind. But no, the word is lenient. Now let's move to question 2. Her advice is disinterested. It's a disinterested one. So we need to add an article there. It's a disinterested one. So what are our options? Trivial, personal, candid. Then we'll have A, which is the first one, biased. Now what does it mean to be, when you say that the advice is a disinterested one? It means that the advice was given without any hidden motive of the person giving the advice, or maybe personal benefit and all that. There's nothing attached to it. It was given from a heart that is genuine, that the advice was meant to help the person it was given to. So it's not colored in any way. That is when you say something is disinterested. You have no anything hidden under that maybe personal benefit. So it is not the issue of being trivial. You know what trivial means? Something that is unimportant. That is what is trivial. It's small, it's irrelevant, it's unimportant to the issue. That is trivial. Now, candid. Well, if it may be that, okay, so candid may be a nearest in meaning to disinterested. Maybe, or close to that. So it cannot form the opposite. They will have personal. It is not personal from what I have explained. So our answer, okay, that her advice is a disinterested one, okay? Now, disinterested here we say now, of course, no, that is no personal gain there, but it doesn't mean that personal is the opposite. It's simply that if it is not colored, then it means the opposite will be biased. Bias is that when you do something and there is no genuineness in whatever you've done, then there's bias in it. But if it is disinterested, you have done it the way it should be done. That is the meaning. So our answer is A, biased. Question number 3. The work required concerted effort. Now, we'll look at it. The options are combined, individual, disparate, and open. Now, we can easily eliminate B. The work required open effort. That seems awkward. Open to collocate with effort. It's awkward. Open effort. You don't have close effort and open effort. So we can comfortably eliminate option B. Now we now move on to 3. A, B, C. Now, what do we have here? We have combined, we have individual, then we have disparate. The word disparate may work because it tells us of different effort, but it's still a little bit awkward. So we can remove C as well. Now let's come to A and B. A and B are actually opposite. So that tells us one of them will be the answer. Combined, it's either it's combined or it's individual. The work required concerted effort. What is the meaning of the word concerted? Concerted effort means effort that is brought together. In other words, that is combined. So if we are looking for the opposite, it can no longer be combined. Our answer therefore is B, individual effort, not concerted effort. Concerted effort is effort that is combined. Question number 4 now. His statements are usually acerbic. Now, what is the meaning of the word acerbic? The word acerbic means sharp to the extent of hurting somebody. So, when statements are acerbic, it means they are statements that hurt a person. So, having known that, we can begin to quickly remove options. D will not work because that will be nearest in meaning. Of course, it doesn't really, it's not a synonym of acerbic, but they are in the same environment, semantic environment. So if it's acerbic, probably it's because it's insulting. That is why it's hurt. It hurts. It can hurt. Okay. So we removed C. Now, controlled. Okay, let's take normal. It can be normal if it's hurting. Okay. So, but does that mean that it is the answer? No, it is not the answer, because normal seems to share the neutral ground. So if it is hurting, then it's just normal. It doesn't really work. It's not sharing. It's not on the opposite side. So normal may not be our answer. What about controlled? It's the same thing. Controlled is also on the neutral level, but it's just controlled. It doesn't bring out the positive side as such. But let's look at the word humane. A statement that is humane is a statement that will have helped somebody to feel valued. So it's not just a normal speech, but a speech that is meant to add value to a person. A speech that makes the person feel happy. It will be a humane statement. So if it is not hurting, it is doing the opposite thing, making the person feel happy. And the only word that can cover that is humane. Option A. Question number 5. He made a passing reference to the point in his letter. A passing reference. How can the reference be passing? Okay. This is a little bit figurative. Okay. Now, what are the options we have? We have A, elaborate, B, brief, C, ambiguous, D, fictitious. Now, look at that. The reference is passing. How do we arrive at this meaning? If we think a little bit figuratively, if somebody is passing, at every point, the person can only be there briefly. It can be brief only. If the person is passing on the way, at every point the person passes, his stay will be brief. So if you use that to arrive at your meaning, that passing reference will mean brief reference, then you are correct. So having said that, what will be our answer? Therefore, brief is no longer going to be an answer in opposite in meaning. It can only be if it is nearest in meaning. So B is out. Now, what of fictitious? We are talking of brief. It doesn't make the opposite of passing can be brief. Fictitious is something that is not real. It's not real. What about ambiguous? Ambiguous is anything that has two interpretations, two meanings. So if it is brief, it can be. If it's not brief, it doesn't mean that it is ambiguous. Our answer is therefore elaborate. So if it's not a passing or brief reference, it will be an elaborate reference to the point. So again, our answer is A, elaborate. Now let's take some exercises on opposite in meaning. I'll read the exercises and read the options. At the end of it, you'll work them and then you'll see your performance. Now, question 1. Clever people can easily identify spurious arguments. The word on the line is spurious. The options are logical, A, B, interesting, C, genuine, and D, fantastic. We have question 2. The boy unwittingly revealed his weaknesses. The word on the line is unwittingly. Now what are the options? A, foolishly, B, knowingly, C, curiously, and D, softly. Question 3. I gave a painstaking account of the robbery. attack to the people, to the police. Now the word on the line is painstaking. Our options are sketchy, A. B. Fearful, C. Exaggerated, and D. Sordid. 4. It is advisable to stay away from lethal substances. The word on the line is lethal. Options are A. Injurious, B. Leaky, C. Deadly, and D. Harmless. Question 5. This method will only aggravate the problem. The word on the line is aggravate. Now the options are A. Increase, B. Ameliorate, C. Augment, and D. Reset. Remember that this question appeared when we were looking at nearest in meaning. So it has been handled here again, but this time you are expected to pick your answer. Your answer is supposed to be the word opposite to the term aggravate. At the end of the exercises, the answers will be provided and then you will see your performance. But I'm very sure you will do well when you take the exercise.